Election 2024 is over. America has voted, and both sexism and racism have won the day. On Liberal Dan Radio, we will hold everyone accountable, from the media that failed to report the threat that Trump poses to this nation, to the people who supported him. We will pick up the mantle to educate the people about his actions, from being dictator on day one, pardoning January 6th domestic terrorists, implementing Project 2025, and any other draconian measures he tries to pass. And now, the resistance begins. And welcome back, Danimals, to Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. This is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming at you from New Orleans, Louisiana. When we do open the phone lines, it'll be at 562-542-3261. That's 562-LIBDAN1. And when I put up the call-in number on the screen, you'll know that the phone lines are open for you to call in. Otherwise, to join the show, just leave your comments either in the threads on liberaldanradio.com, which is the YouTube channel, or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. To support the show, you can, if you have Twitch and Amazon Prime, you could subscribe for free every month. You can gift subscriptions over there and use bits and cheering over there. You can also gift memberships here on YouTube as well as buying your own. And you also do super chats, super stickers, etc. One-time contributions can also come via Venmo, Liberal Dan on Venmo. Scan the QR code, buymeacoffee.com/liberaldanradio, or to just buy me a cider, go to liberaldan.com and click the buy me a cider button. Also, you can become a Liberal Dan Radio patron. Go to patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way will get you there. We still have the GoFundMe up. It is linked in the show description here on YouTube. My wife is still in the hospital, and she's gone, I guess now, several weeks without working, so that's several weeks without pay. And so we have other bunches of stuff to have to deal with. I need to buy, apparently, a new shower chair that's going to be making it easier for her to get in and out of the shower when she's eventually able to go climb upstairs. I also need to be able to handle a whole bunch of other stuff and buy a whole bunch of other stuff to make it so that she can live in the house when they finally tell her it's time to go from the hospital, which at this point is looking like Thursday. I won't be convinced until it actually happens. There's still some weirdness going on with her walking, but we will see how things go and, how they progress at home. Hopefully they will continue to just get better as she does outpatient therapy as well. Shouts out people, Aaron and Orvilby over on the Twitch stream. Of course, Aaron is over here on the YouTube stream as well, including Jeff, Steve, Alton Gillespie, Kelly, Roxanne, CR. Good to see every one of y'all show up. We usually see. I saw a video where you can use a shower chair to get up and down the stairs. Do I have to assemble something? Like, do I have to make it like a motorized track to get her up and down the stairs, or does it have to be more than that? The goddess Kimchi is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. All hail, all worship the goddess Kimchi. Do not worship King Trump.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
But, worship the goddess Kimchi and smash that like button while you're at it. John is here as well. Did I miss anybody else as I was thirsting over kimchi? Sorry, just kidding. But of course, yes, I have a new, because Donald Trump proclaimed himself king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
I just have to keep playing that every time we mention King Trump.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
There you go. So we'll use that sporadically over the course, but it's up on my favorites bar now, so I have a bunch of other ones as well, including I failed to mention because Steve from across the pond is here.
It's no Scottish, it's crap.
There you go. So anyway, Janelle, good to see you, Janelle. Thank you for hopping in the chat. joining us. Of course, I usually give people a little bit before I start talking about the majorly serious issues. We got a bunch of stuff I want to. I don't know how long this show is going to last today. It'll last as long as it lasts. How about that? Simply because of the fact that I have more cleaning up to do. Apparently, my kids can't be trusted to do the cleanup that I've asked them to do. They got into a fight downstairs while I was prepping for the show, and I had to yell at them via Alexa. So I guess the government now knows how I that I yelled at my kids, right? So, whatever. They, you know, I'm trying very hard to keep everything together and keep everything going normal and keep everything, you know, not as disruptive for them as it could be, but everything is testing my patience. So, and there's a lot of other things that are frustrating me too that I'm not talking about on here, related to things that are pertaining to either with the whole mother-in-law passing and everything like that, and all those bills still pinging away at my money that we have in our checking account. It's very stressful, and I'm finding it very hard to not be stressed out and to not take it out on people. So anyway, kids can never be trusted. The minute you turn your back, they'll whack you right in the head, right? So Nick Rich, great day. I just signed a parliamentary petition to revoke Leon Scum's citizenship. Nice. Leon Scum. I like that. I like Leon Scum. That's a good name for him. I guess I'll do this first. I'll do it again. If you remember last show, it was or 2 shows ago, it was requested that I sing the news. And while I'm not ready to do a full-fledged singing the news bit, maybe the more people that like it, the more people like those videos and share them and whatever, the more I will put in effort into doing the singing the news bit. But last week we did Elton John was the song. Well, I was like, I guess that's why I'm singing the news. So I almost messed it up. Almost actually said the real word at the end there. But this week I decided to do Richard Marx is my inspiration for this time singing the news. I don't know if I'm going to rest on one particular one. Maybe at some point I'll do a montage to be able to get a whole bunch of songs together while singing the news. But since we're here, and since y'all are early to the show, I guess early-ish, but y'all are early joiners, and I'll probably be able to see it tomorrow anyway because I'm going to record it. But it's just the chorus as well. They'll have a little tuning harp or whatever, a little horn or whatever I want to do. Let's take a sip of drink first. So, and here we go. This week's, I don't know if it's a weekly thing, but this week's Singing the Blues, or singing, not the blues, the news. Again, I can't seem to get it right. When Trump praises Doge and workers are screwed, I will be right here singing the news. When Musk makes mistakes and government breaks, I will be right here singing the news. So there you go. That's me singing the news again. Bunch of stuff to talk about, I guess, with this whole stuff. But yeah. So there you go. We got Big Hook in the house. Good to see you, Big Hook. Who am I missing? Suzanne. Good to see you, Suzanne. Thank you for the applause, Kimchi. So it's funny because I think my wife does it just to drive me nuts or whatever. But I'll do what I think was a good job of karaoke, and she'll be like, it was all right. So I'm just like, so I guess it makes it special the times when she's like, that was really good, and I'm like, what, really? Okay, cool. So They take off to the Great White North. At least you also use the Great White North, I guess. So I'm not the only one referring to Canada as that. I mean, I know other people do it as well, but, I often refer to you as being from the Great White North as well. So there it is. So, let's try and get several of these things in order. Kids Nick's here. Don't want to be a hoser, eh? Drink a Molson. You'll be okay, eh? Anyway, so let us I guess we'll start with doing the live Fat Man rant, because we'll flip over to the Fat Man rant live thing in a second, but we'll start here. So, there has been a lawsuit that has been filed by 17 states that advocates of persons with disabilities will say threatens disability protections. Over a dozen states, according to disabilityscoop.com and various other websites, are seeking to invalidate one of the nation's key disability rights laws. Advocates are warning that this jeopardizes access to healthcare, education, and more. Texas, because of course it was Texas, and 16 other states are calling for an end to Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. And the suit is known as Texas v. Becerra. So, what do these people have to say about this? Georgia Republican Attorney General Chris Carr insists that the lawsuit wouldn't affect existing disability protections. He says it merely aims to reverse the Biden's administration addition of gender dysphoria to the law's protected disabilities. Quote, the constitutionality of 504 was never in question. Let's just put that here again, and I'll move this over. It says right here, the constitutionality of 504 was never in question, Carr said in a statement to Stateline. So there we go. One of the Republican AGs is claiming that this will not affect existing disabilities. They are just mad that that the Obama administration tried to put in a so-called final rule that, would deal with other people like, trans folk and gender dysphoria and putting them under the requirements of being able to get a 504 plan. And let's go look at the suit, shall we? The text of the suit. Count 2, we'll skip count 1 for a second. The final rule is arbitrary and capricious. All other allegations are repeated and realleged, fully set forth herein. APA requires courts to set aside agency action that is arbitrary and capricious, abusive direction, blah, blah, blah. So they're talking about the final rule here. So one would think that if you believed the Attorney General of Georgia, that this is just a matter of just this particular action that was taken on the part of the previous administration, right? According to them, the constitutionality of 504 is not in question. Let's scroll down to the next section. Count 3. Section 504 is unconstitutional. What? I thought the Georgia Republican just said that it wasn't under threat, that the constitutionality of Section 504 was never in question. The lawsuit specifically states that Section 504 is unconstitutional. Which brings us to this screen, because, I have to do a rant. I have children who have had 504 plans. 504 plans are necessary and needed for individuals who are in an education setting because it provides them with the accommodations they need to be able to get stuff done, to be able to, be effective students. Now, some people might not have heard of a 504 plan. Maybe you heard of an IEP. IEPs include accommodations, specialized instruction, and, quote, related services. So, for example, if you're speech delayed and you're in school and you need to get speech therapy in school, that would be part of an IEP, because it's not just accommodations for your speech issues. It's also requires related services, so you can get speech therapy in school. I know this because my oldest son had an IEP for speech therapy that he no longer has, because he no longer is delayed speech. He's speaking normally now. But if it wasn't without the IEP, he wouldn't have had what he needed. Now, of course, he also has ADHD, which is covered by 504 plans. And 504 plans include accommodations there as well. So they have to give, the school has to give accommodations to students as needed to be able to deal with whatever issue it is that created the need for a 504 plan to be created in the first place. 504 plans and IEPs both act as contracts between the family and the schools to make sure that the schools are giving them the services that they need. So why the hell would you put this at risk? Well, I know why. Because Republicans don't give a crap about persons with disabilities. Republicans don't give a rat's ass about the harm that these cuts, that these actions are doing, or that these lawsuits that they bring will cause to the people. And of course, they're going to lie to your face, because they just lied to everybody when they said the constitutionality of 504 isn't in question. Yes, the hell it is, and it's part of the goddamn lawsuit. And to any of y'all Republicans who haven't been listening, I've been telling you that we can't allow the Republicans to gain a single inch more power. You can't allow these MAGA conservatives to gain any more power. And I've been saying this as well before the last election. But this is what happens when you allow the Republicans to gain more power. You put at threat the ability of students that have special needs, that have disabilities, that have issues that would require a 504 plan. You're putting that at risk. And if the 504 plan is at risk, then who's to say that the IEPs aren't next? And then kids with speech therapy, with speech delayed speech issues, people that need other specialized instruction, like people with autism, or people who are diagnosed on the autism spectrum, however you do want to word that for yourself. All of that's being put at risk because, back in 2016, we were worried about her emails. Or, they were worried about Joe Biden being too old, or whatever racist and sexist reasons they came up with not voting for Vice President Harris, even in states where Democrats won statewide. You had Democrats winning statewide, but the Democrats who won statewide were either white men or white. Some combination of the two. So whatever racism and bigotry and sexism that y'all had to cause, Donald Trump to win this time again, and to allow Republicans to gain power in these state houses or whatever, you're screwing these kids. Not literally, proverbially. We're not Epstein here. We're not talking about that. These kids are getting screwed over by this. And who's responsible for defending the Section 504? It would be Trump and the Trump administration. Do we believe that the Trump administration is going to put up any sort of defense for this law to be in place? Or is he just going to not challenge it and just let the courts rule against Section 504 and give the states what they want and let them rule the 504 plan unconstitutional just because these conservatives don't like the fact that gender dysphoria was included in things that might require a 504 plan? So maybe somebody who's trans can pee in peace or something like that. God forbid. Anyway, what do you think? Are you crazy conservative moron who thinks that this is a good idea and is going to justify anything that these Republican states do, justify anything that this presidency does or doesn't do if it comes to not defending this in court? You leave your comments down below. If you agree, if with me, leave your comments down below as well. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe to the channel. Of course, unless you're a Nazi or somebody wanting to take away the ability of disabled children with disabilities to actually, get the education that they need, have a good day. Anyway. Oh, we got a bunch of chats over in the Twitch stream. Let's go. And we got Teresa Tech. Teresa is in the chat. Thank you for joining us, Teresa. Hedge Enemy. Good to see you as well. Did I miss anybody else? Dawn. I didn't say hello to Dawn yet. I think we've covered everybody at this point. I think that's the last part of the screen I saw. If anybody, oh, Impeccable Living is here. I missed Impeccable Living.
My.
That's right.
Oh my.
Sorry, it's so nice I had to play it twice. Over in Twitch, let's see. Got Wonder Mom and Evie's aunt. And Central Scrutinizer 1 says, we are everywhere. I guess individuals with IEP, 504 plans. My daughter had an IEP because of her vision issues. And again, at this moment, IEP are not at risk. Individualized education plans are not on the table in this lawsuit as it stands right now, because they're only going after Section 504. Section 504 was in one legislation, IEP was in the IDEA, and another piece of legislation that was passed for individuals with disabilities. See, I wish I had these things. I have dyslexia and hearing loss. Let's see, too bad for her dumbass teacher didn't read the IEP and had her in the wrong area of the classroom. Oh, geez. Yeah, you don't want to screw up at the IEP, that's for darn sure. Let's see, my mom is almost deaf, so hard for her and everyone else, but she keeps plugging along. See, I did have many teachers who accommodated my quirks. If I had a nickel for every time I could say I told you so, I'd be a millionaire. Oh, absolutely. If I had a subscriber for every time I said I told you so, or every time I've been proven right, when I predict something is wrong and people deny that I'm right, I'd have one of the highest subscription levels on YouTube right now. Exactly. IEP helps kids. Exactly. I learned to read and speak lip read and speak as clearly as I could. My classmates were also very accepting of me. That's also very good. It's good to hear. Let's see. You don't think what LD that IEP might be under threat? I'm glad I passed your intelligence test, Central Scrutinizer. Anyway, let's also go back over to the YouTube chat, see what anybody else is saying over here about that issue, if at all. Surrender Monkey's here. Good to see you, Surrender Monkey. Let's see. Billionaires backed BSers, brainwash, and the maggots who vote against their society's best interest. Yep. I don't think they realize how bad it's going to get. People will revolt. It's just a matter of time. The people are revolting. That's right. They stink on ice. Sorry. Another movie. You'll get random movie quotes from me occasionally. Let's see. I got a serious subject with somebody tonight. I've been feeling bad about that. I don't do serious very well. Well, I mean, we are always constantly talking about Uranus, right? We could be in a Herbert Hoover moment, which fertilized the ground for FDR and all the good that he did. I recognize he did some bad stuff too. Well, sure, yeah. I mean, FDR did have his problems. Japanese internment camps being one of the top 5, if not the top one, that's on that list. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't have any faith that this nation is going to come forward and do the right thing. Why should I? Why should I have faith that the voters are going to do the right thing? Because we're sitting here and having to discuss the hellscape that is the Donald Trump administration electric boogaloo. So yeah. I think Krista's here. Good to see you, Krista. Lisa's here. Just got back from the grocery stores. Nothing but staples. How are you going to eat those? Let's see. I think I scrolled down too far, though. All right, I got back to the Herbert Hoover moment. So let's see. Jeff Curry, you were family to me, especially now. That's so sweet. I love when the audience gets together and loves each other. Impeccable Living, I just watched the first episode of a Japanese series on Netflix, and I'm excited. I love Japanese men. Very cool. Hope you enjoy. But yeah, for anybody who missed it, I did do a singing the news that will probably go live tomorrow with because I recorded the clip. You know,
It is what it is.
thank you, Donald. Rice and beans, beans and rice. See, I have to go. Wait, what? Hold on, I have to go flick my bean if they don't stop being so unbelievably hot.
Oh my.
See, Eagles turned down the invite to the White House. Let's see. Hey, MJ Daniel, hello from Washington. This is the find out phase for Republican voters. It is absolutely the find out phase, and I'm wanting my wife to design me up a F around and find out shirt. That's going to be up for sale, hopefully at some point soon on my stepsister's website. Her and her husband. I have the other image submitted to her already. We will see how that goes. So hopefully, whenever that goes up, I'll give the links, and I'll probably buy one myself to wear it because it's going to be based on one of the things I say a lot in the show. Let's see, maggots regret. I thought Trump was going to deport all the brown and black people rather than cut my government subsidies. Exactly. Or better yet, they thought that Trump was going to, just deport all the brown and black people and not fire and get rid of all the DEI hires, i.e., black people and brown people who are hired, because I'm not going to say the N-word. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, they're finding out, I voted for Trump 3 times and he just fired my daughter and I'm sad. Boo-hoo. Let's see. We won the Gulf of... Yeah, we won the Gulf of... I'm not saying the name. Gulf of Mexico. It's the Gulf of Mexico. We're not saying Gulf of... whatever it is here. Whatever Trump wants to call it. So Lisa Green. George Takei was my first childhood crush. I'm sure it was also... Was it also Impeccable Living's one as well?
Oh my.
There you go. For some reason, it didn't click the first time. I don't know. That's weird. Let's see. Some manga in another chat renamed me Lisa Red, White, and Blue. Interesting. That's funny. I had to think about it a second, but that's funny because of Greenland, Red, White, and Blue Land. That's really good. It took me. I was almost like almost went right over my head, went, and then it curved back around and and then hit me in the forehead. So there you go. Again, that's funny. I like that. I like that a lot. And it was a manga that said that. It was a conservative in a chat that named you that actually came up with something clever and funny. That's crazy. Because usually, we talk about how Donald Trump loved the poorly educated because he said that after the 2016 Nevada primaries. Pause, buffer. I don't know why we would pause and buffer, but, wait.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. I heard they are firing a bunch of people at OK's biggest military base. The businesses around the area are going to be hurting. Oh, I mean, I can't wait to see I don't want it to happen, but I'm waiting to see all of the drain on the unemployment. The drain that might happen on unemployment insurance when people start losing their government jobs left and right to something that wasn't expected, and all of a sudden all these unemployment offices are going to go bankrupt. I don't even think they can go bankrupt, but they're going to lose all their dough because they're going to be paying out too much money than what they've caught in because they weren't expecting to have, Donald Trump and his prime minister, King Trump. Sorry, we're going to call him King Trump, right?
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Or his prime minister Musk doing all these things like sending out a letter saying, name the 5 things. I should record this as well. So, we had the email that came out that everyone's talking about. Name the 5 accomplishments that you did last week. Blah, blah, blah. And if you don't respond to it, it's considered a resignation. First of all, I don't believe that failure to respond to an email is going to be taken as a valid resignation, especially from people who are civil servants. And B, if you're working on a long-term project, what are the odds that, and if you're focused on that one particular project and you're in the middle of it, how are you going to put your 5 best, accomplishments if you're not done any of them? Sure, maybe you'll have milestones that you can hit, and maybe you might have hit a milestone in that project. But how are you just going to fire somebody knee deep in a bunch of work simply because you don't respond to your little query? Now, some news agencies are reporting that the Trump administration are backing off of this email now. But again, this is what happens when you don't measure twice to cut once. You need to take measured actions when dealing with government. You need to make sure that what you're doing is is A, going to be legal and constitutional, B, that it's, going to be not causing more harm than what you think it's causing by having it existing, and C, again, you're just going to harm. What if you lay off the people they're considered to be fired, and then all of a sudden, oh, we fired the wrong people again. Maybe this time it's not the people in charge of the nuclear stockpile. Maybe this time it's the people responsible for, I don't know, monitoring whether or not Russia have made a nuclear weapons launch or something like that. Maybe they're too busy, worrying about our national security to sit here and try and worry about whether or not they've done the 5 tasks. How about 1? Russia didn't attack today, so therefore I've completed my task. There you go, mazel tov. But no, obviously, we have to, we're going to have to deal with this dystopian hellscape of Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of the crap they're trying to pull, and they're throwing just shit against the wall just to see if it sticks. And it's not spaghetti because you don't want to eat any of it, but it's shit. And they're trying to make sure that, see how much of it sticks, how much of it falls to the floor, and how much, causes more of a mess than they anticipated. Well, here's your big news flash there, Trump and Musk administration. If you throw shit against the wall, it's always going to make a mess. Anyway, what do you think? Agree with me, disagree? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and of course, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. You might have gotten buffering because sometimes when I record, it takes a little bit more processing time, so therefore it might cause the buffering to take place, but I don't know. Let's see. See, Nuremberg teaches us that Americans hate Nazis. The question is, will we have to level half the country like we did Germany before we get rid of the scourge? I hope not. Uncle Sam will eventually kick Trump in the sack. Here's hoping. Do many MAGA live in areas where we need to worry about? Here's the problem. The MAGA, I live in Louisiana. So I live in New Orleans. New Orleans is very democratic, very, not very MAGA friendly at all. Before Hurricane Katrina, there was one Republican councilmanic district in the city of New Orleans. And I was worried that the Republicans would use Katrina as an attempt to try and reshape New Orleans, try and redraw districts, try and make it so that people can't move back in, and then move other people into the city and whitewash the city and make it so that it becomes a more conservative city. And that's probably one of the times where I was worried about something happening and it didn't happen, and I was thankful that it didn't. Because instead of gaining councilmanic seats on the New Orleans City Council, the Republicans lost a councilmanic seat. And they are no longer represented anywhere in the city of New Orleans government. So, but despite the fact, when they were trying to remove, or when they did remove, like statues of Lee, statues of Jefferson Davis, statues of, P.T. Beauregard, when they tried to remove those things, all the conservative crazies from all the surrounding parishes, counties to all y'all people who don't live in Louisiana, we just want to call them parishes because we're special snowflakes and Louisiana's Catholic, or at least the south of Louisiana is Catholic. Who, North Louisiana is more evangelical types, although there are those down here as well. But anyway, those people will come down and wear the little military helmets and encircle themselves around these monuments and try to defend them or protect them. One of those times I was even in a writing class, and I wrote a love story between a MAGA protester dude and a person supporting the monuments guy also. Basically, it was two men falling in love, or at least falling in lust, over meeting at the taking down of a statue in the city of New Orleans. So, I don't know, it was kind of humorous, and people enjoyed it who read it. I could probably find the link or whatever. See, impeccable living. I need to get some acupuncture. I slept on my arm wrong a few weeks ago. Still hurts. I think it's a pinched nerve. Is that the only thing? Is that what you need to puncture you?
Oh my.
Sorry. Had to say it. So thank you, Teresa, for joining and becoming a liberal Danimal. Appreciate you. Elon is the very definition of deep state, unelected bureaucrat who makes arbitrary decisions. Yep, well, that's because every Republican accusation is a confession. So when they argue about the deep state and then they install the deep state, what do you expect? What did we... Shit's-getty. Yes, throwing shit's-getty against the wall. See, Elmo is like a brown Ferrari. It might be worth money, but has no personality. It's kind of ugly. Yeah. The Rook one. Hey, the Rook one. Good to see you. My old girlfriend was one of those people responsible for the nuclear weapon status. Hey, there you go. You'll have to let me know if she got one of those emails if you're still in contact. If you're not, don't reopen bad wounds or whatever. I was buffering over red, white, and blue Lisa. I'm a cheeky cheeky monkey. See, we are in a state capital, pretty liberal, but we are on a public golf course surrounded by retired old fart Republicans. They don't bother me. I don't bother them. Well, that's true. The problem is, it's not the old farts that are the big problem. It's the young farts. It's the people who think they're going to be, the next part of the next revolution, but they're really part of Meal Team 6. Or Al-Qaeda, or whatever it is. Asking for snacks when they take over a forestry office or whatever it was. So... Boo, 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 boo. Damn it, meeting, even funnier. Yes, exactly. I had a herniated disc when I was 25. I had to do it in months of physical therapy to fully recover, blah, 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 blah. Back to Uranus. Great segue, which is funny itself. I did not come up with this. I just heard it. Captain Kirk toilet paper. It circles Uranus and always searching for Klingons. Yeah, that's a very old joke. That is a very old joke. See, Wundermom, I'm a blue dot in a red county in a blue state. Interesting. See, I'm in a very progressive Sonoma County, California. Very jealous of you. A very dark blue area of Wilmington, Delaware. I think we've discussed this before. I was born there. So, there you go. That is, our city puts up pride flags. We have gay parade too. I'm very much proud of our multicultural head. That is awesome. It's good to hear. And New Orleans is good too, but New Orleans is going to be fighting back against the stupidity, like when Louisiana's Attorney General Liz Muriel was trying to say that New Orleans had the responsibility to enforce border laws, and that's absolutely not true. 100% false. No city or state has the responsibility to enforce border policy because no city or state has the authority to enforce border policy because, well, that's a power that's enumerated to the federal government, and as such it is not one that is gained by the states by the Constitution via the 10th Amendment. But conservatives hate the Constitution. Conservatives don't understand the Constitution. Conservatives wipe their ass with the Constitution, searching for said Klingons, and they don't they'll claim fealty to the Constitution when it, supports them, but they'll still support the guy that pronounces himself King Trump.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Exactly. Which border would Louisiana defend? None. There are no borders. I mean, unless somebody came across the Gulf and came via boat that way, then no, Louisiana wouldn't have a border to defend. But if you have somebody who the conservatives would label illegal, i.e. an undocumented migrant, if you had them in your city, and Liz Muriel, the Attorney General of the state of Louisiana, seems to think that New Orleans should have to comply with federal orders, should have to, take actions that they don't have the authority to act with. It's absurd. What else? What's the next thing we're going to talk about? Silly ad campaigns, maybe. Silly ad campaigns it is, shall we? There is a silly ad campaign being run by the White House Department of the DHS. It's posted on DHS. They created a domestic ad, and I'm going to play it. If you haven't seen it yet, we're going to play it now because, if I had to hear it, you have to hear it too. And then we might pause it in the middle and talk about it. And then we're going to talk about where this aired and why it's dumb.
Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security.
First of all, the fact that the dog killer got at this job is just absurd. Let's continue.
Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for securing our border. For
Is it secure? Have border crossings become zero? Is there no fentanyl crossing the border? There's no evidence of this. And, of course, he will claim that border crossings or apprehensions are down, depending on which sentence they're using, because those are two completely different things. And there's another video on my channel that I put up last week that explains why you should not trust Donald Trump's numbers. And I compared the situation to the COVID testing issues and him not wanting to test for COVID, and therefore you can't trust the numbers for Donald Trump under COVID. But again, more on that in a different video. Go find that video. Let's continue.
Deporting criminal illegal immigrants and for putting America first. President Trump has a clear message for those that are in our country illegally. Leave now.
Get out! Do it now!
If you don't, we will find you and we will deport you. You will never return.
I don't even know if that's legal. I don't even know if they deport somebody, if they can permanently ban somebody based off of just the fact that they crossed not at a port of entry and hadn't quite yet sought out an immigration official to be able to declare asylum. Let's continue.
For too long, weak politicians left our borders wide open.
Actually, President Biden, stopped the most fentanyl from crossing the border than Donald Trump ever did. But, Republicans complain about that. My only theory on that one is Republicans are funneling fentanyl sales into their campaign coffers, and that's the only way they can manage to win elections. But, that's just a theory.
They flooded our communities with drugs, human trafficking, and violent criminals. They put American lives at risk.
And nobody is saying that we shouldn't deport, the violent people who are here who, shouldn't be here. Let's continue.
Well, those days are over. If you leave...
Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Wait, wrong song. Wrong thing.
Now you may have an opportunity to return and enjoy...
So basically, self-deport and maybe we'll let you in. You may be able to return. That means they're not going to be able to return either. Because they're not going to say that they can't return, but they would not let them back in under the Trump administration. That's for damn sure.
Enjoy our freedom and live the American dream. But understand...
Unless only if you're white, though, because we're only really talking about letting white people in, like people from South Africa, because we want to let those white South Africans in because they're refugees, even though the reason they're having their farms taken away from them is because, they stole the farms in the first place.
And this. Under President Trump, America's borders are closed to lawbreakers. Follow the law?
We have a lawbreaker as president. I don't think our borders are closed to lawbreakers. Every time Donald Trump leaves the country and comes back, a lawbreaker is coming right back across those borders. Way to go, America.
And you'll find opportunity. Break it, and you'll find consequences.
We've already played, some language that we heard on Jeff Carreur's Ringside Politics show where they were talking about how they want to stop, immigration altogether. They want to cut it all together. Not just illegal immigration. They want to stop anybody from coming in the country. Why do you think that is?
The choice is yours. America welcomes those who respect our laws.
As long as they're from South Africa.
Because a strong nation is a safe nation.
Yeah, great. Strong nation is a safe nation. Well, here's the thing that I want to know. I think this was a $200 million ad buy. Now, I don't know if all of it went to Fox News or just some of that went to Fox News, but I do know that they spent money to run that ad on Fox News. So, let me ask you, randomly in the air that you'll never hear me, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and with your so-called Department of Government efficiency, trying to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. How is it efficient to spend millions of dollars to run an ad on Fox News when nobody who is the target of this ad, hypothetically speaking, is going to watch that? I doubt many, if any, undocumented migrants are sitting there watching Fox News and, going, oh, okay, maybe I should self-deport. They're never going to see that. But of course, as we all know, this ad isn't for them specifically. There's no intent on targeting this ad and to having the undocumented migrants see it. They don't give a crap about that. They're doing this to rile up their racist, xenophobic base. They're doing this to let their racist xenophobes know that we are going to at least show you a commercial claiming that we're doing what they promised to do. Are they really going to do what they promised to do? I don't think so, because every single time a Republican state has tried to shut down, the hiring of people who are undocumented migrants or whatever, the businesses in that state wind up complaining and bitching and moaning, etc., because they can't find the workers to do the jobs they want to pay substandard wages for. So in reality, do I think they're going to really do anything about this? No, they'll play some lip service. They'll kick out, people who are DACA recipients or whatever, but they'll be more than happy to let workers cross the border without question, and they just won't count them in their encounters because they'll probably choose to not encounter them. But this ad is specifically not for the people who are undocumented migrants, but who are the racist, xenophobic base who just loves to see this sort of theater, if you will. Anyway, what do you think? Agree with me, disagree with me? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. And of course, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. There you go. I'm doing this to piss off Liberal Dan. Googly, googly, goo goo. What? I don't know why that would piss me off. But hey, it's Siha. Going on. It's good to see you, Siha. Let's see. Bunch of stuff. We have a very active Twitch chat today. That's awesome. Let's see. Right. I grew in a town called Goonerville. It was a big resort town for the gay population of San Francisco. I didn't really understand the issue, never cared. Suffice to say, I've grown to understand the plight of nominalized groups. Yep. Let's see. Can't believe the treatment she's receiving. They are just insulting her with their behavior. They're insulting her constituents. We elected her because she is our advocate. Oh, your senator, I think it was? Yeah, that's terrible how they're treating her. It's ridiculous. Some people never got out of middle school. It's sad that we can't grow up as a country. Well, some people never got out of kindergarten, because when you're dealing with issues of trans issues and gender and sex, there is articles that you can clearly read on like Scientific American that say our basic understanding of sex is way outdated. And the fact that they don't use this analogy, but these Republicans stopped biology at kindergarten cop. Where the kid goes, all boys have a penis and all girls have a vagina. And all of the people are like, yes, that's what I think. Thank you, child, in a movie. You've backed up my political beliefs. Let's see. I'm still working on one of the dumbest ones. A girl's got to have some fun after all. Yep. If you're a Nazi, Google Nuremberg, you're next. Well, hopefully. But, there are people... Here's the thing. Not everybody's going to be wearing a swastika and doing the salute or whatever, but you're going to have plenty of people who already have tried to make excuses for Bannon and Musk and whoever else is putting out those Nazi salutes. So if you're making excuses for a Nazi, you're no better than a Nazi in and of themselves. Although, funnily enough, if you haven't seen the video, maybe I should dig up the video. Nick Fuentes actually came out and was questioning the optics of Steve Bannon's throwing up the Hitler salute. Little Nazi Nick Fuentes was worried about like the imagery of that, and he even acknowledges how ridiculous it sounds from himself. I have to go find that, but let's see. Wouldn't you have to bing, bing, bong, bong to piss Liberal Dan off with the search engine reference? I'm not sure. I don't know. I wasn't one of the ones that mad at Google. I remember a long time ago there was this SourceFed channel that has since gone away. SourceFed basically tried to lie that Google was manipulating search results for Hillary Clinton in the Democratic primary of 2016, and I absolutely proved them wrong with this series of videos. That showed why they were being stupid about things. Wait, do the Muppet voice again? Which Muppet voice did I do? Like, I've done Muppet voices before, but I just want to know which one did I do. I mean, I can do Grover. Near, far. Anyway. Hey, it's 5 Eggs. Good to see you. Just saying hi and hitting that like. That's what everybody should do. And Yakety Smack is here too. Yakety Smack, don't talk back. But yeah, that's what everybody should do. If you see a creator that you subscribe to and they're live, go into the video, smash like, say something in the chat, and then you can run away if you're busy. So that's what everybody should do. See, I think it's 2,100 a month, but it might be more. I must have lost that message. I don't know. Let's see exactly. If you're not anti-fascist, you're complicit. Exactly. And here's one of the things. Like, I guess, I don't know. I wasn't planning on talking about this, I guess, but I can. There's a creator over on TikTok that I interact with. I've had discussions with, kind of, chatting back and forth on, on his videos or whatever. And he takes a little bit more of a pro-Israel stance sometimes, and he kind of plays the middle, and I get more annoyed with people that play the middle than with people who are far extremists, because the people who are the extremists, where they are. The people who play the middle make excuses for the bad extremists, or while also criticizing the other extremists on the other side of the aisle. And every single time that takes place, it's always the liberal extremists that are attacked by the so-called centrists, while they make excuses for the right-wing crazies. For example, I said something about people getting fooled by Donald Trump, and he's like, I'm so sick and tired of people being so smart or whatever. That's how Democrats are going to lose. I'm like, oh, we have to win by being dumb? That's what we have to do? I mean, Donald Trump did say he loved the poorly educated, but I don't think choosing to be willfully ignorant is a thing. But there was an attack in Israel, and 3 buses exploded, and you also had a situation where the children, babies, were murdered by Hamas, and then they received the corpses of these babies back. And yeah, Hamas is awful and terrible. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Hamas should always be condemned for what they do, because and I don't trust numbers that come out of Hamas either. I have very hard time trusting the numbers coming out of Hamas. What I won't abide by, what I won't stand for, what I won't tolerate are people who are fellow Jews who are going to sit here and play the, I no longer support a 2-state solution because of this. I think that all Palestinians are whatever because of how Hamas acts. Have you learned nothing? Have any of y'all who are sitting here trying to say that all Palestinians are bad because they're living under the thumb of Hamas? Are you trying to actually make that statement? Because that's the type of thought that caused 6 million of us to die in the Holocaust. That's the type of thought that puts all of us at risk, puts all marginalized groups at risk. Because if you can do that to the Palestinians, they can sure as hell do that to you as well. Or do that to us, I should say, because I'll be part of that group. So no, you all, if you're somebody who's Jewish like myself, you have absolutely every right to be enraged at what Hamas has done. You have absolutely every right to be enraged at Hamas. What you don't have the right to do is to blame every single Palestinian for the actions of Hamas. Oh, but they were at the parade. They went to the celebration. They went to the... Do you think that the people who live in Gaza are free? Do you think that the people who live in Gaza are able to just, go around and protest the people who are in charge like we still hopefully will have the right to do for years to come? No. I'm not going to sit here and begrudge a Palestinian mother and her child standing there at a parade feigning that they support what Hamas is doing because they don't want Hamas coming at them next. They don't have any power to do anything. So if somebody lacks the power to act, I'm not going to judge them for their inaction. I will judge people who have the power to act for their inaction all the time. Absolutely. But people living in Gaza under the thumb of Hamas do not have the power to act. And again, if you don't have the power to act, you can't be criticized for a failure to act, because you didn't do a failure to act. You are just sitting here trying to survive under horrible terrorists. And again, Jewish people should understand this. And this is not to say that to justify bad actions on those people if they actually aided and abetted what was going on. If they actually took part in what was going on, like, that's collaborating. That's a whole different scenario. But a mom and a kid just standing at a parade because they feel like they have to, because if they don't, Hamas is going to come after them, no. Criticizing them is stupid and hurts whatever cause you think you're fighting for. So what do you think? Do you disagree with me and my Jewishness and my opinion on the whole issue of that we shouldn't be scapegoating all people who are Palestinians simply because Hamas is terrible? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and unless you're a Nazi sympathizer, or support, condemning all people of one race, area, religion, or whatever because of the actions of bad people in that area, unless you're any one of those, have a good day. I wasn't expecting to rant on that, but it came up, so there you go. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate you. That will be another clip that gets uploaded after the show. Just painted my entire basement after water mitigation. I'm sure we have a lot of stuff we have to paint in this house. I'm wondering how much stuff will actually be done by the time I get downstairs, because after another previous show one time, I came downstairs expecting a whole lot to be done and nothing was done, and I was very mad. I was very, very mad. Let's see. Irony, in late 1960s, she was provided with documentation that proved she was a natural-born citizen. Let's see. There are two types of racist fascists: covert Reagan types, the ones that smile in your face and die. Now they're the overt ones, and they scream it in your face. Yep. Our European family and friends are worried about us. They have upped their text and emails checking on us, as well they should, because everybody should be worried about us. Absolutely. But yeah, I've been worried. Yeah, I've been taught about the Holocaust by survivors. I mean, yeah, my first grade. I think it was my first grade Hebrew teacher. Was somebody who survived the Holocaust. And whenever we would, in school, learn about all of the atrocities of the Holocaust, what would happen is that she had to leave the room because she obviously couldn't deal with seeing the images that she lived through. And I can't blame her for that. Can't blame her about it one bit. I was taught about the Holocaust in a public school when I was 10. Yeah, I mean, I went to parochial school, private school, whatever you want to call it. And obviously it was a Hebrew day school, so we clearly learned about it then. I don't believe that my kids have learned much, if at all, that they should be learning about the Holocaust. I talked to them the other day about it, and they kind of were like, So I'm going to have to put some time and effort in educating my children about what the Holocaust is about. I did spend a little bit of time discussing it, and I forget why it was brought up. But, it'll happen at some point. See, as long as you use lead-based paint, Liberal Dan, make paint problematic again. What's that? Mapapa? Whatever it is. Yeah, we're supposed to actually, we started off today in the 40s, and I think it's like 65 right now. So the weather in New Orleans is just stupid. It's no wonder why everybody gets sick. There's not a lot of Jews in Oklahoma, but I knew a Jewish woman in college. I went to her wedding in 2007 and saw her grandmother or great-grandmother and her tattoo. Yeah, the fact that, they've had to, there's some debates by some people who question whether or not tattoos are actually against Jewish law or not. However, they did have to make special provisions, because it used to be the belief that if you had a tattoo, you couldn't be buried in a Jewish cemetery because you tarnished or tainted your body or whatever. So in this case, because of the people who were survived the Holocaust and had those tattoos on them, You know, they had to basically make an exception of like, if it was forced upon you, then you're not going to be punished for it. So there you go. But that's the way that Judaism is a lot of times. If it was forced on you, you don't get punished for it. Like most Jews who are out there will support like rape exceptions on abortion. So there you go. The owner of the bakery had the tattoo, making him a survivor. Yeah, and you know, I hope he sold his bread for cheap, because then people would be complaining about the Holocaust. Sorry, had to make the joke. Had to make that joke, because it's a joke I've made before, and well, you know, I'm Jewish, so I can say it, right? So, see how many people groan, see how many people, after the delay, see how many people groan, see how many people, there you go. At least Impeccable Living laughed. There you go. So Jewish people seem to be more balanced and more level-headed. I try to be. I can't always be, but I try to be. Uh-oh, the Trump police are at my door for saying Gulf of Mexico. I should say it all. Gulf of Mexico! Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Gulf of Mexico. So he learned very little in the Holocaust in public school. Small WASP town, though, so there's that. Yeah. And that's why we have a situation like that we have, where millennials and Gen Y folks, or Gen Z, Gen Y, millennials, Gen Alpha, fewer and fewer people know that the Holocaust happened, how many people died in the Holocaust, etc. Did it just get to you, Aaron? Do you have that long of a delay? So let's all get Gulf of Mexico tattoos. Exactly. It should just be like, you know, they should rename it like the northern part. Just can't name it the Gulf of the Pendejo, and then they can name the parts that border Mexico the Gulf of Mexico. So, see, hey, why waste a good setup line? Exactly. And like, again, that's why it came up. Thank you. That's why it came up, because I was trying to explain to my oldest son why Jewish people, because I made a terrible joke to my son and he laughed. I forget what the joke was, but I just happen to know that the joke was terrible. So, and not terrible as in like a dad joke pun sort of thing, but it was because it was just a bad taste joke, and he laughed at it. And so then I started explaining why, like, people like myself will often make jokes that are often considered to be in quote bad taste. And that's because Jewish people have had to survive, you know, mass genocide over and over and over again throughout the history of our people's existence. And the only way we survive is by finding humor. And many times, gallows humor is what causes us to be able to go through and deal with and survive all of these tragedies that have befallen the Jewish people over the course of the millennia that has happened. So, see, I got a joke. When Elok walked away from little X, he said, "Where's that kid of mine? Where's that kid? Where's that ketamine? Where's that kid of mine? Is that what you're going for?" That's cute. Yeah, self-deprecation can be a very powerful tool. And absolutely, and I'm all about the self-deprecating jokes too. Like, the only fat jokes you'll usually hear me make, if at all, are jokes at my own expense, not necessarily jokes at other people's expenses. I'll criticize Donald Trump for being a hypocrite, for saying other people are, you know, not in shape when he's clearly not. I'll point that out because that's being critical of him and his hypocrisy, not mocking him for his size, his weight, or what have you. So, let's see. I am a Heinz 57, half Italian, and my mom was like a melting pot of European nationalities. Well, for anybody who's new, I was raised Jewish, and I'm no longer practicing. My joke is to say that I've practiced enough as a kid. I don't need any more practice. I know what to do. And then Cassie, my wife, is a lapsed Catholic. So with her being a Catholic and myself being Jewish, for any of you who haven't heard this yet, our kids are cashews. So my humor runs along the Monty Python scale. Oh, I love Monty Python as well, clearly, because, you know, every time from now on we talk about King Trump,
Well, I didn't vote for you.
I'll continue to play that because, you know, Why wouldn't I? So yeah. Let's see. Where are we at next? What else do we want to talk about? There was some big stink that was made. Thank you, Impeccable Living. There was some big stink that was made, that was being made over Medicare telehealth ending on April 1st. Now, part of me was like, did the Trump administration do this specifically to own the libs? Is that what they did? Like, did they purposely make, the day that it goes away, April 1st, so that, we can be like, wait, are they punking us? Is this a real thing that's going on? What's going on? But here's one of the things where, while we have to report on everything, we have to report on everything truthfully, or else we open ourselves up for criticism and not to have the rest of us, whatever we say, believed. So when I looked this up, the reason that the Medicare telehealth is ending on 4/1 is because in the legislation that enabled the continuation of Medicare telehealth to be allowed, what did they do? They made the expiration date of it March 31st, 2025. So since the expiration is March 31st, 2025, that's why it's going away. So it's not necessarily the fault of this administration for that change to have been made. It's the fault of the people who wrote the bill to allow it to expire, and the fault of the people in Congress to not continue to extend it. Now, that being said, we can criticize the president all day long for not urging Congress to extend that particular thing, because telehealth is probably more affordable and more efficient. If you're looking at efficiency and you're looking at eliminating waste there, musky boy, you should be embracing all sorts of things that cause efficiencies and that cost less, which would include telehealth. But this, again, goes under the whole issue that they don't want people working from home, so I guess they think that doctors who are doing telehealth are just working from home too. Meanwhile, telehealth gives people who have disabilities the ability to, see a doctor when it's not an emergency without having to deal with, getting up, getting out of your house, getting a ride, getting to there, getting in and out of the building, etc., etc., etc. Telehealth is a wonderful thing that should be used whenever appropriate. It would save probably a bunch of money. It would be very efficient. But of course, as we all know, Doge is not about actual efficiency. Doge is about an internal coup. So, hey, it's Jojo Mojo. Good to see you, Jojo Mojo. Get the holy hand grenade, Siha. Yes, 3 is the number of the counting, and the number of the counting shall be 3. 5 is right out. 1, 2, 5. No, 3. Pfft. Sorry. See, it hurts MAGA and the VA more than anyone. It's a big part of life for seniors in MAGA in West Virginia and my tri-state area. Oh, absolutely. And again, more MAGA are going to join the find out phase, and I'm here for it. I wish we could say that only the MAGA people will feel pain, but we all know that everyone's going to feel pain. I'm dreading what's going to be happening with my student loans, student loan payments. I'm dreading what's going to be happening with, his ideas that he wants to pay for his tax cuts off the backs of student loan borrowers. So who the hell knows? As of right now, I think I have 10 years left in my student loan payments. So I don't know if anything else got deducted via the Biden administration's, going through and looking at past time spent in repayment. That being said, if he's going to pay for his billionaire tax cuts with off the backs of the working class who are paying on their student loans, there's going to be many, many, many more unhappy people with him. And I hope that the many, many more people that are unhappy with him are people who all voted for him and who are realizing that they effed around and they're finding out. Let's see. I want some of what's in Elon's bag of dope. Must be some good shit. Pretty much. It was the salmon mousse. Yes. You were speaking about me now. People simply do not understand how hard a simple task can be for a person like me. Absolutely. I mean, and look, I don't even know if my wife is ready to come back out of the hospital. I'm concerned about the fact that she is only going to the bathroom back and forth from her bed to the toilet via the wheelchair, and that she's not going back and forth and in and out of the bathroom with a walker. But from what they said to me is that she's not necessarily supposed to be ready to be walking around the house yet just because they let her go, which is one of the reasons she's going to be sleeping when she comes back home. She's unfortunately going to still be sleeping downstairs because there's no way she's going to be able to make it up and down the steps with how she's doing, and she's going to be probably dealing with months and months and months of physical therapy, dealing with, recuperating from the Guillain-Barré syndrome. So I got 20 years left. Ooh, I'm sorry, Dean. So yeah, so there's that. And one thing I actually do have to admit when I'm wrong too, because I've been often criticizing conservatives. Now, to their, I don't know if I can say to their credit or to their lack of credit, or, they are just as ignorant as I am, apparently. Because for a while, I was making the argument of the hypocrisy of conservatives. Because conservatives seem to have no problem with the wet foot, dry foot policy, where as long as one dry foot was on land from Cuba, that they would be allowed into the country, whereas everybody else supposedly has to come in through a port of entry. However, apparently, President Obama ended this policy in 2017. Wait, how's it ended in 2017? Donald Trump is president in 2017. Maybe he ended it January 2017. I don't know. Let's see. See if that comes up. January 12th, 2017. There you go. Changes to parole and expedited removal policies affecting Cuban nationals. What's changing? Beginning today, DHS has rescinded certain policies unique to Cuban nationals. Specifically, DHS has eliminated a special parole policy for arriving Cuban nationals, commonly known as wet foot, dry foot, as well as a policy for Cuban medical professionals known as Cuban Medical Professional Parole Program. It is now department policy to consider any request for such parole in the same manner as parole requests filed by nationals of other countries. So yes, it literally took place 8 days before President Obama left office. So there you go. I was like, 2017, what? I'm like, yep, he did it one of his last things. He got rid of that. He got rid of the hypocritical policy. So there you go. Lisa, every time I was going to get a tattoo, I changed my mind in the last minute. I can't ever settle on an image I'll never tire of. Good thing I chickened out on that tribal armband. Yes. Yeah, Dawn, it definitely, I'm anticipating a long recovery. I mean, I'll be very happy to have her home, obviously. I can't wait for her to be home, because I'll be able to spend more time with her, because nowadays it's just I have to make sure that I get there, that I'm not interfering with any of her therapy, and, I also have to deal with my work and picking up the kids from school and all the other stuff that comes with it. And I'm happy to do it. I'm just I've been running myself ragged these past few weeks. So if at all I seem tired during any of these shows, yeah, that's why. When I was waking up after heart transplant, throat tubes, I couldn't talk. Motion let me write, pen in hand. I started with a big F. Wife took it and said, I know just what he's going to say. So, see, step 4 of the 12-step program, admit you're wrong when you correct mistakes. Yep. Just like a chimpanzee can't fly at 747, Trump can't run this country. There can be only one outcome, and we're all on the plane together. And unfortunately, we've seen what's been happening to planes under the Trump administration since he took office, right? Which is a scary proposition. Oy. So, and of course, there's the people who... Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about this. Anybody see that ex-Proud Boy leader Enrique Tarrio was arrested near the Capitol? Enrique Tarrio, the former national chairman of the Proud Boys, was arrested by U.S. Capitol Police on Friday following a press conference with other Proud Boys members and Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes. A spokesperson for USCP said Tarrio was arrested for simple assault after a counter-protester put a cell phone close to his face and he struck her phone and arm in response. The counter-protester said she wanted to file charges, so Tarrio was arrested. The incident took place between the U.S. Capitol and Washington's Union Station. This is absolutely insane, Proud Boy Joe Biggs told The Hill in a text claiming local police let agitators into their path Terrio did nothing wrong. This is a setup. It's always a setup because they never want to take personal responsibility for the BS that they do. Shortly before his arrest, Terrio gathered with other Proud Boys members and Rhodes to announce their intent to file lawsuits over the prosecutions tied to January 6, 2021. They announced the legal actions outside the Capitol, which members of both groups stormed 4 years ago as Congress certified the election, blah, 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 blah. I'm not talking about violent retribution, Terrio said, flanked by Proud Boys and supporters of January 6 defendants. I'm talking about something much more powerful, accountability and the rule of law. So basically, you're going to sue the Trump administration at this point? Is that what they're saying? I can't wait for the day that Enrique Terrio and the Proud Boys and all the other J6ers sue the Trump administration, because that's who they're suing when they're suing the government. Let's see how that plays out. That should be fun. Watch them eat their own. That would be great. So, and it's a Boeing. Yeah, that's even more scary. The fact that it would be a Boeing under Trump's administration. It's like, yeah, let me ride an Airbus, not a Boeing, please. Thank you. Well, at least he was arrested for his crime this time. I think he was arrested for the time last time, wasn't he? When he was charged. And I don't even think he was pardoned. I think Enrique Terrio was just commuted, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. So let's say we dealt with that. We dealt with that. White House posted something. A new poll by Harvard Caps Harris reveals that the majority of the country backs President Trump. I'm sure they're manipulating the statistics. Let's pop on over to the alternate, shall we? And get myself a little out of the way. 81% support deporting illegal immigrants. Again, I wonder how that was worded. That's the one thing we need to see. How was it worded? Approval and mood of the country. Voters are more optimistic about the directions this administration, blah, blah, blah. All right, where are the questions? Does it have a list of the questions in this thing, or is this just a graph or a chart? So is Donald Trump doing better or worse? Do you think Donald Trump is doing a better job and worse job than Joe Biden? 2/3 of voters agree Democrats should wait and see what Trump is doing before opposing. What? No. We should make sure and not wait and let him do whatever the BS he wants to do. There needs to be accountability and transparency, and there is none. So here, do you think Democrats should oppose everything that Trump is doing, or should they take a more of a wait and see attitude approach? See, that's a stupid question, because it's not that simple. They're asking a question simply, and the question isn't as simple as it should be, because that precludes the whole idea of Democrats should do with force accountability on the whole thing, but not necessarily oppose everything. I wouldn't oppose everything, because if there's some things that they propose that I agree with, I'm not going to oppose it. But what is that so far? No idea, because there's no accountability, there's no transparency, etc. Voters are divided over whether Dems kept the border open deliberately. Do you think Democrats deliberately kept the southern border to bring in millions of immigrants? Again, 52% and 48% makes total sense, considering the fact that we're divided as a country. A small majority support giving citizenship to children of illegal immigrants, and over 3 in 5 say Constitution requires anyone born in the U.S. to be a citizen. Do you believe the Constitution requires anyone born to be a U.S. citizen, does not require blah, 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 blah? 63% say yes, it requires. 37% are morons who don't understand the Constitution. See, besides renaming the Gulf of Mexico, each of Trump's policies tested received strong majority support. Deporting immigrants who are here illegally and who have committed crimes, 81%. Okay, who's going to not support that? Ask deporting people who have done anything except for crossing the border. How about that? Ask that question. See how that goes. Undertaken a full-scale effort to find and eliminate fraud, waste, abuse of government. Of course, that's what they're claiming that they're doing. Are they really doing that? No, we don't believe that to save our lives. Renaming Gulf of Mexico. Only 39% approved because it's dumb. Ending bans on offshore drilling in Alaska and elsewhere, 57%. Of course, ask Floridians that. If they want drilling off of Florida, they'll quickly prove themselves to be hypocritical NIMBY folks. So, see, Biden and Garland are to blame for Trump. Partially. I mean, Trump's to blame for his actions, but Garland should have acted more quickly when it came to bringing the charges against him. So, voters are split over whether or not DEI departments are needed in government or not. 51% say that they're needed, shockingly enough. 49% say they're not. Most voters are satisfied with their presidential choice. Okay. Let's see, there are 6% of voters are Trump voters who wishes Harris won. Those people are finding out. Those people are finding out. Plurality of voters say Trump's policies will make them financially better off, but also say inflation will increase. Square that circle for me, shall you, hypocrites? Doge. Do you believe the current level of U.S. federal government debt is sustainable or unsustainable? Of course it's not sustainable. But of course the Constitution says the debt can't be questioned. So what do you want with that? Should the U.S. government move to balance the budget? Or is it unrealistic? And should they run significant deficits? Again, that's a stupid question because it's not just those two options. You can move to balance the budget, but you can also understand that there are some times where a deficit needs to be run, especially in the case of, like, a pandemic or a war. Stuff like that. Thank you, Evie Zant, for joining us. Thank you. Appreciate it. Enjoy Delaware. 7 to 10 voters think government expenditures are filled with waste and agree with cutting $1 trillion in expenses. Okay, but what are those expenses? We shouldn't be cutting expenses just to cut them. See, let me see if I can find this wording specifically. Let's just see. Well, let's search the document for deport. Just one. Deporting immigrants who are here illegally and have committed crimes, 81%. And that's what is being cited here. Of course, again, what about deporting the people who are here in violation of our border policy, but who have not done anything other than just do that? What about those people? What do you think about those people there? Poll askers? Again, the problem with polls a lot of times is the questions that are asked can be done in such a way that can allow people to manipulate the statistics, manipulate the data, just like Donald Trump is doing right here, because we don't have a full picture. We haven't asked enough questions to figure out what the voters really support and really don't support, because you can't ask yes or no questions to things that don't have a yes or no answer. So, good night, Suzanne. If I haven't caught you already, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Why don't we just tax fairly? Oh, I don't know. Because taxing fairly would require us to tax billionaires, and billionaires don't like that. And you know who else doesn't like that? The dumbasses who think they'll one day become billionaires, and if they do so, they want to make sure that they're not going to be taxed at those high rates either. So there you go. Pain in my neck. So, let's see. I made sure to download this one.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
That was in my steps, things to do for today. We talked about the 200 million anti-migrant ads being watched on Fox News. Who did they poll? That's a good question. Who did they poll? Let's see if that's at the bottom or the top. Well, almost 2 in 3 voters think Russia will continue to advance into other countries if it successfully claims Ukrainian territories. Well, no shit! Is it at the beginning of the poll? Let's see. February 19th to 20th, 2025, among 2,433 registered voters by the Harris Poll and Harris X. Respondents for this poll are recruited through opt-in web panel recruitment sampling. Recruitment occurs through a broad variety of professional validated respondent panels to expand the sampling frame as wide as possible and minimize the impact of any given panel on recruiting methods. I put a weird emphasis on that syllable. Results are weighted for age within gender, region, race, ethnicity, marital status, household size, income, employment, education, political party, political ideology, where necessary to align them with their actual proportions in the population. Propensity score weighting was also used to adjust for respondents' propensity to be online. The margin of error for total sample is plus or minus 2 points on a 95% confidence level, done by pollsters Mark Penn. Drayton Nesho, and Stephen and Solabaheri. I don't know if I got that right or not. But yeah, so see, when Maga says I like to go back to the 50s, I always say, yes, let's go back to the tax rates of the 1950s, 91% for the 1%. And there's that, but there's also other things to consider, because you can't just look at what the tax rates were. You have to also look at what income was taxable. For example, I think at that same time, when they had a 91% tax rate for the top marginal, as the top marginal rate, not for all of their income, but the top marginal rate was 91%. However, you could write off, I think, every bit of interest that you paid. So if you have a bunch of debts outstanding and you're paying interest on that, you can write off all that interest, and that's counted against your overall gross income. So you have that, unfortunately. See. So I did Enrico Terrio, did lawsuit of 504, talked about extra stuff. Did my sing in the news thing. If you missed it, it'll be up tomorrow, or maybe late, or maybe soon after the show. We'll see if it's going to be soon or not. But yeah, I think we've covered everything. And I hate to say it, but I am exhausted from everything that's been going on. So I'm probably not going to take calls today. I will probably just call this the end of the show, so I can take care of some things in my house. I have some more cleaning that I have to do. Of course, I need to upload, and I need to process and upload all these videos, which with my laptop that I got has actually done a lot quicker. The processing speed has enabled the videos, once I put them together, to actually be spat out much more quickly, which makes my post-show activities a lot more efficient. I know more about efficiency than Doge. See, there you go. So, but anywho, let's go ahead and just cut this show short for the day and see how the kiddos did when it came to cleaning. See if I'm going to be blowing a gasket or not. We'll see. Anyway, again, for those people who are watching after, watching on Twitch or whatever, you will have a hard out because I can't play the outro music on Twitch, or else it gives me a copyright violation. So to everyone on Twitch, when you see me go away and see me say goodbye, it's going to be the end. Until then, or otherwise, for the people on YouTube, you'll get to hear the music. We'll chat a little bit more as it continues to go. So thank you all very much for joining. I'll be live on probably Nerdy Dan a little bit tomorrow. Wednesday's show could start a little later than normal. It depends on certain things, and Cassie and Mardi Gras parades and all other stuff. I'm still intending on having a show on Wednesday. If I'm running late, I will post it on Blue Sky, and I'll post it on YouTube itself, that the show will be starting a little later than normal. But, you know, just want to let y'all know that, because we're in the middle of Mardi Gras Parade Season 2. Oh, somebody had a Mardi Gras float stolen from them the other day, over the weekend, and I need to find more information about that, because, oh my god, people are very brazen right now. But anyway, thank y'all so much. Appreciate you, and y'all have a great night. Peace.